Hi there, guys. JB here with a 5-10 minute video on how to broadcast live and do live videos on Facebook, or do audio commentaries on YouTube like I do, or FIFA videos and things like that. It's pretty good. But I'm gonna so for anybody who would like to, who are a little bit shy doing a Facebook live, I've I was like that once when I first started. I didn't know how to do Facebook Live. I was a bit query, and I'd do them every week with the football predictions and things like that. And for me, it's like easy as falling asleep now. Doesn't bother me. I love to have good interactions with my viewers and my listeners and everything else. And the football commentaries have taken off in a big way in the last sort of 12 months or more. How do I prepare for them? The first thing I would like to offer is preparation. Especially if you're commentating. I do a lot of sports commentary, as I say, on YouTube, and I have to prepare quite a bit for that. Obviously, I need to know a lot about the teams that I'm commentating on. If it's a football game, I always do quite a lot of research and watch quite a lot of interviews with the managers in the build up to the match. Try and pick up points in the interviews that might be relevant in commentary. So I always try and pick out stuff that's relevant to use during my commentary. Also, I'm not one for statistics. I mean, if I've got a very good game happening in front of me on my screen, because I do a lot of the commentaries off tube, which means I'm not actually on sat, but I'm actually in commentating in my studio Commmentator, my room, which doubles up as a studio. But if I know there's a good game going on, like for instance the other night, the Monday night game we covered, I only decided to cover that at the last second. The game between Crystal Palace and Manchester United, that was probably one of the best games I've actually done all season. One of the best, sort of like 30-minute games I've done all season, and it ebbed and flowed, and the only stats I came out with is how many goals they'd scored this season when whoever scored was the scorer. Like for instance, take the Brighton game. Glenn Murray had 11 goals going into the match against Arsenal. He scored the second one on Sunday in the game I covered, and I bellowed out he's got 12 goals this season. So it's really good. Cup finals in fact, there's probably a little bit more preparation to do for cup finals, because you've just got the game to do. You've got the teams coming out, then you've got the presentations, the national anthem, who's singing the national anthem, and then the trophy presentation at the end. So quite a lot to take in if you're a commentator for that, for a cup final. I did the League Cup final, and I almost made it. I didn't want to over-egg it too much, and I felt I did a good job for the viewers. And I got 1,500 people listening overall, which is quite good for the YouTube videos. So it's quite good. For FIFA videos, I do record the commentary. I have to admit I do cheat a little bit, because what I do for the videos is edit them down into like 5-minute highlights, and commentate on the highlights as they're actually edited. And so I do cheat quite a bit there, to be honest with you. I try and keep the same professionalism as I do for my live games, the live audio commentaries, but I do cheat a bit, and I do dub my voice over the top of the actual edit. So I do admit a little bit of cheating, but it's still hard work, but I enjoy it, and it's great. As for the Facebook lives, I go on there if I'm going to do a video on Essence, for example. I will talk about Essence. I'll talk about the competition and everything else, like we've been doing the other week. We're still wanting subscribers for on my Essence page. Or if it's football predictions, now a lot of people on Facebook, because this video will be going out both on my own Facebook page and on YouTube. YouTubers, don't ask me for my Facebook page. If I don't know you, intimately, then I don't add people on Facebook. So you've got to know me face to face in order to be a Facebook friend of mine. Um, basically, when I do Facebook, I do football predictions every Friday, and I do them live. I've done live. Obviously I've done the commentaries live for a couple of years before I even considered doing a Facebook live. And I had a couple of friends who started doing Facebook lives and inspired me to have a go. Anybody now, there's a lot of people that are plucking up the courage. Certainly my colleagues at Essence Perfume. There's one woman in particular, Carrie, and I hope she's watching this, and because I want to give her a good piece of advice about her life. She's about to do a live tomorrow, so I hope she's watching this. There's a woman there. I'll give it if there's anyone that's wanting to do a Facebook live, I'll give it an advice to anybody really, is basically just be yourself. The first one is always the most nerve-wracking one because it's a new thing, it's a new situation. You're looking into a camera, you don't know how the audience are going to react. You go through 1,000 different things in the end, and it could be quite easy to over-prepare for your first video. But let me tell you, once you've got that first live video out of the way, the world's your oyster. You can relax, you can do, and I've done lots of live Facebook videos, involving lessons and football predictions and the like, and it gets a lot easier. And in fact, I actually have a good laugh interacting with the viewers, which is quite good. Same applies when I'm commentating on the games. For my YouTube stuff, for my YouTube commentaries, when I'm live commentating on football and other sports, and I've done boxing and one or two other bits on YouTube. So I've done other sports. Boxing is another sport that I do enjoy. Okay, not a lot of people might not like it because it's barbaric. Apparently, it's boxing's been in the news. Unfortunately, there's been a death of a professional boxer, sadly. But I like boxing because it's a great sport. It teaches people discipline and things like that. And I've seen some great fights, and the best commentators are from boxing. Harry Carpenter, Reg Gutteridge, two people I used to sit and watch when I was a kid. Football commentators, John Motson, Brian Moore. Those were the two that I admired. Barry Davis, another one. Some of the newer ones I'm not really so keen on because they don't have that same brevity like what Motti and Morrow and Barry Davis had, because they had a sense of occasion, a sense of purpose. Whereas some of the others now you'll hear on Match of the Day are just, quite frankly, bland. Jonathan Pearce is not my favourite commentator because he screams too much, he shouts too much, his voice is nauseating, and that's not a criticism of him. He can't help his voice, but that's the way it is. One other thing I do get thrown at as well in commentary, certainly in commentaries, I do cover a lot of Burnley games. Now, a lot of people already know that I'm a Burnley fan. So when I cover the games, I do tend to be accused. And I've been accused on many occasions by a lot of other people that have commented on YouTube of being biased towards them. Now, I'm going to say that, which is a fair enough comment. But I always reply back, of course, I'm going to be a little bit biased because they're my hometown team. I do support them and I want them to do well. And of course, I want them to do well. But I also, but they're also, but I always, when I commentate with my head as well as my heart, especially if I'm neutral. I always commentate with the head anyway. If it's two neutral teams, say for instance, for instance, I saw the League Cup final again. Going back to that at Wembley when Arsenal played Manchester City at Wembley, and I just saw Arsenal obviously at class. I said what I thought of them. I said they were terrible, they were awful, they had no cohesion, all sorts. And I went to town on them because it was just a spineless performance where City played absolutely. They didn't have to play well on a day, but they played well and scored some great goals, and I applauded them for it. So the other day when Arsenal played at Brighton. Their defending was all over the place, and I wasn't exaggerating when Brighton could have scored 3 or 4 in that first half. They only won, thankfully, for a 2-1 win, and they deserved it. But you know, a lot of people get criticised of biased. I try not to be biased, especially if Burnley are playing. I mean, I think I covered one Burnley match away at Crystal Palace. They went away to Crystal Palace, and they got thrashed 1-0. And it should have been a cricket score because Palace played some terrific stuff and should have scored 2 or 3 more goals. But having said that, you know, so I can be very critical of Burnley if they're not playing well enough. Believe me, I'm as critical as the next fan if the team aren't performing. I will say what I think. Another thing to watch out for is make sure that you don't swear while you're commentating. I've almost swore on air a couple of times. Also, obviously I'm English, but when I've covered England several times. I mean, I covered him against Iceland some 18 months ago in the Euros, and nearly 2 years ago in the Euros, and I was so disgusted. I couldn't praise Iceland enough that night, but I just thought Roy Hodgson was a dead man walking, and I said what I thought. You know, forget the fact that I'm English and I'm an England fan. I mean, everybody who's born in England is an England fan anyway. But I didn't let the fact that I was English cloud my judgment. I knew Roy Hodgson was a dead man walking because I've seen a lot of England games over the last 25, 30 years, not just as a, obviously as a like a YouTube commentator, but as an England fan or as a football fan, and I don't get the same buzz for a tournament now with England as I like Italia '90 or Euro '96 when we should have on both occasions reached the final and possibly won both competitions, but it's wishful thinking. And anyway, we're going to end on a good note now. I've had some memorable lines. I've given some memorable lines to a lot of people on YouTube. There is 2 that spring to mind. One is it a bird, is it a plane? No, it's Ashley Barnes. Now, I took inspiration from a commentator called Sam Matterface when he did the Euro semi-final when it was Germany versus France, and he said, "There's a superhero in town. Is it a bird? Is it played? No, it's Griezmann." Now I thought, and the line came into me. I did a commentary on Burnley Crystal Palace last season. If Burnley fans obviously will remember it, it was a game where Burnley had gone 2 up. Vokes had put Burnley in front, then Goodmanson made it 2. Wickham pulled one back for Palace on the hour mark, and then a penalty put away by Benteke made it 2-2, and it was going into basically stoppage time, and it was memorable. And Barnes threaded the ball out to the right hand side. He ran Goodmanson wide a little bit, and then he worked a miracle to get the ball back in the area, and Barnes just slammed it over from 6 yards. And he's just come off the bench, and he'd been laid off with an injury for a few months, and because he had a long term, he was out for 3 or 4 months after injuring himself in a warm up match at Bradford at the start of the pre-season that year, and because he just literally come off the bench some 10 minutes earlier, the first thing that came into my head, we have a new superhero in Burnley. Is it a bird? Is it a plane? No, it's Ashley Barnes. And I thought, I never had the line prepared. People think I had it prepared. I never did. You can't prepare lines, especially if you commentate on live football. I think that's an important thing. The Arsenal Fan TV thing, I used that at the cup final. When they were beaten 3-0, Arsenal Fan TV will be in meltdown, and I do that. I didn't prepare that line. I had it in my head, but I never prepared to say it, and it was in my head at the time, and I just shouted it. I just think on big occasions you can't be excitable with your commentary. I've been accused of being too excited. I got and well, I'm not taken to task, but I had a comment once from somebody that said that I listened to you, and you almost blew my speaker system off to smithereens because you shouted. And that, I think that was the third goal for Wales in their European quarterfinals, because it was Sam Vokes who scored, and he was Burnley, because he plays for Burnley. Wales were already 2-1 up, and I was sort of like in cloud nine because we are going to see a British team in the semi-finals of the Euros. Now, obviously, I'm not Welsh, but I always want the British teams to do well. Wales, Scotland, Northern Ireland, and so on. And Vokes, because I obviously had a personal interest in it because I'm a Burnley fan, so Vokes nodded in the third, and I went potty. But I have been said, I've been known, it has been said that I have almost blown speaker systems up. One more thing I will say is, when I'm commentating, I always make sure that I interact with my listeners. I have a live chat. Sometimes there's a lot of people that use bad language. I had to stop doing the live chats earlier this season, because a lot of people were swearing. A lot of people were not listening to what I wanted them to comment on, and they were commenting on different things other than the game they were supposed to be listening to, which weighed away from the commentary, and I couldn't, and it tried to draw me away from the commentary. I didn't appreciate that, and I thought, right, I'm gonna grab the ball by the horns and do live commentary without those chats. It might make people sit up and take notice, and only in this last couple of months I've actually just started bringing them back into it, because the chat back into it, because I couldn't, it just wasn't the same really. But I have a good fan base. I've got a lot of people that enjoy the commentaries. There are going to be some people that don't like the commentaries, and that's fair enough. I can take the criticism. If they don't like what I do, fine, listen to somebody else. It's fine. But that is my theory on commentary and on live videos and things like that. I hope you very much enjoyed the video, and we'll see you hopefully we'll see you at the weekend for some live commentary on YouTube as well, on my YouTube channel. But until then, from me, JB, take care, and I'll see you later.